What's up, everybody? It's the JAY man here, celebrating another Corncob Tuesday. It is, in fact, Tuesday, the 27th. Haven't done a Corncob Tuesday in quite a few weeks, maybe like 3 weeks. I don't know. It's not to say I'll do one of these every single Tuesday, but you know, when it's Tuesday, I ain't got nothing to do in the evening, and then maybe I do want to, smoke a pipe. Then it all kind of goes into play. It all kind of fits in there, which is all good. So I'm gonna get this old corn cob right here lit up. Well, that ain't gonna work. Leave it to the pro. I'm a pro, you know. Let's let that charring light settle down a bit. Okay, this is going to be probably a little bit of a long video. I'm going to try to keep it in under 20 minutes. So if you're not in it for the long haul, if you're like, man, I have got places to go, you might want to watch this later, because I got a feeling it's going to take me a minute to talk about what I got to talk about. So if you want to stick around, stick around. If you don't, poof away. But come back. Come back when you got time. You know, you might be sitting on the shitter, got 20 minutes, check the video out, just listen. Knock two things out at once. Two birds, one stone. Today we're going to be discussing pipe smoking versus cigar smoking. And basically it's just kind of running through maybe some pros, some cons, some differences. Maybe you're interested in one of the hobbies. Maybe you just don't know which way to go. Maybe you just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Maybe you want to be like me and eventually kind of venture into both hobbies. I did get into pipe smoking years before I got into cigar smoking, because I'm only into maybe going into my second year, the beginning of my second year of cigar smoking, whereas I've been kind of doing the pipe smoking thing on and off again since 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. And I'm just gonna light that one. Get the video underway. Okay. Try to talk and smoke as I go. And here's the thing. There's several different factors you got to think about when it comes to the two. They are both tobacco smoking, but are different in many ways, and maybe the same in a lot of ways as well. There are different smoking methods and procedures between the two. And, basically say when it comes to a pipe, the whole process of, loading the pipe, with whatever tobacco you've picked out for the day, packing the pipe, lighting the pipe, all the way to the end to where you're done and you're cleaning it with the pipe cleaners and you're, putting it away. And then when it comes to cigars, the whole method, the whole procedure is different. Because with the cigar, they're basically, you take it out of your humidor, take it out of the cellophane, snip the end, and light it up. And then when you're done, you toss it. There is really no cleanup with the cigar. So it all kind of depends on, what process interests you. It's kind of ceremonial. It ain't just about smoking the tobacco. And I think that's what's always been so hard trying to get across to, people that are just only cigarette smokers. Because, cigarettes are kind of there just to get a quick nicotine fix within a 5-minute period. Whereas smoking a pipe, smoking a cigar is kind of an experience. It's relaxation, and it's not really looking for a fix. It's looking for, stress relief. It's looking for something that's just, like I said, it kind of becomes its own ceremonial, kind of little ritual. And, but at the end of the day, you're smoking tobacco. And which pipe tobacco, cigar tobacco, it's all pure leaf. So whichever one you choose, and you don't inhale either hobby. I don't anyway. I'm sure maybe some people do. I wouldn't. That would make me sick. It's just for taste. It's just for puffing. It's just for relaxing. Different tools and accessories are needed for each hobby. That's good. That's working out. And like I said, whenever it comes to the different accessories you're going to need, and it really all depends on you, how far you want to go into it, how much stuff you want to buy. But basically, when it comes down to it, you're going to have to at least have the basic necessities for each hobby, which when it comes to a pipe, you're going to have at least one pipe, and preferably more. Remember, we talked about that in the video I did for, pipe rotation. But you're going to have at least one pipe. You're going to have at least one type of pipe tobacco. You're going to have at least one style of tamper, or you can get a little 3-way check tool like this one right here. That's got the tamper on it, but you can buy a tamper separately, or you can buy it like this. It's got the poker, it's got the little spoon, little scraper. These are probably the best. I prefer these, especially whenever you're smoking a corncob pipe and you're trying to get down where the little wooden stem goes into the pipe bowl. You can kind of use that poker to kind of get in those hard to reach spaces. And also you're going to need pipe cleaners, and you're going to need plenty of them, because I use at least 2 to 3 pipe cleaners after every pipe session. And they usually come in about a pack of 100. And they're cheap though. They're real cheap. Don't worry about that. And you're going to need a lighter. And there's different lighting methods. My preferred lighting methods for a pipe is, if I'm not in the wind, I'd like to use a wooden match. You can use Bic lighter. Some people use Zippo, like with the pipe insert, but you're still using that Zippo lighter fluid. I wouldn't light anything with a Zippo unless it was a cigarette. I just don't want any of that Zippo lighter fluid taste on my cigar or pipe. So I ain't about that. When it comes to cigars, you're gonna have to have a cigar, you're gonna have to have a cutter, and when it comes to a cigar, you're gonna have to have a lighter of some kind. Matches, wooden matches are a pretty good preferred on cigars. Man, it's like everybody is coming home right this second. It's busy around here. Trying to keep that pipe going. It's like, don't worry, I ain't smoking that wacky tobacco. It's just that pure leaf tobacco. It's the brown tobacco. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. It's getting warm.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little. Hello, how you doing? And like I said, those are going to be kind of like the basic necessities for both. Oh yeah, and I was left off on the situation with a cigar. You don't have to have a torch lighter, like a butane torch. You can use a Bic. You can use a soft flame, even though some people are against it, but I don't see why. I've really never noticed too big of a difference between a Bic, soft flame, or a torch. But people at cigar aficionados like to make sure that they're lighting it clean. Wooden matches, or you can use cedar strips. You can light those cedar strips on fire and then light your cigar with that. I've done that a few times. I might do a video on showing how to do that, actually. That'd be a good little topic for cigars. But back on topic. A tamper is needed big time. That's what's going to squish that tobacco down, keep it compacted, that way it stays burning and stays even. But then when you're kind of getting into, say, well, I've got the basics. I've got the basic stuff. You know, now I want to buy some stuff, you know, some extra stuff, which with pipes usually means buying more pipes, which usually means now I got all these pipes. Now I got to buy a pipe rack, or now I've got all these different kinds of lighters, different kinds of matches I've bought. You know, like me, I've got 3 different, like I've got 2 check tools and like a different tamper that's kind of like a little spoon on one end and a tamper on the other. Kind of looks like a nail. You know, you're gonna want, you might want different tampers. You might want, you know, you're gonna want different pipe tobaccos. You're gonna want to experiment with aromatics versus English blends. You're going to want to try Virginians. You're going to want to try ribbon style tobacco. You're going to want to try plug style. You're going to want to try, you know, like the cake, like the crumble cake type style. You're going to want to, you know, you're just, you know, flake. You're going to want to try all these different kinds of things. And the pipe hobby, just like the cigar hobby, can go on and on and on. There's no end to it. It just depends on how much you want to invest and what you're looking to get out of it. And then when it comes to cigars, the same thing, because then if you become the type of person where you're not just buying 1 or 2 cigars at a time, you might be buying a box of 50. You might be buying, different kinds of packs, and then you're going to need a humidor. So you can keep those cigars fresh, keep the humidity where they need to be. Because when it comes to a cigar, you got to have a humidor for long periods of time, just so you can maintain the proper humidity setting, which is going to be somewhere between, and now this right here is a little like people go back and forth with this, but I've heard anywhere between 65 to 75% is good. Some people are like, do 70, right in the middle. I've heard some people say 72. I've heard some people say 67. So somewhere in between the 65, 75% is pretty good. Play around with that. And, if you're going to be keeping a lot of pipe tobaccos on hand, say you choose the pipe hobby, you've been buying a lot of pipe tobacco. It's coming in bags. You're not smoking it that fast, so you may want to kind of have that pipe tobacco maintain its freshness, maintain its moisture, especially if it's an aromatic, that does have added flavoring. And then you're going to want to maybe keep mason jars on hand. Mason jars work really good, and a lot of tobacco tins that the pipe tobacco itself will come in work really good. And like I said, pipe rack. I still don't have a pipe rack. I need a pipe rack. I just have all my pipes like in a box, like a big cigar box. I need one though. And, depending on if you're smoking outside or the way you're smoking, maybe you're smoking inside, maybe you're smoking outside on a patio, you might want a, ashtray. I have an ashtray, like a glass ashtray, that I actually bought a cork knocker that has like a little sticky thing on it. It looks like a little cork. Stick it in the middle of the ashtray. When you're done with your pipe, flip it over. Give it a few knocks on the old cork knocker. Get the extra, just little accessories like that you might want to buy. Hello, how are you doing? It's starting to get a little warm. But it's all up to you how much you want to invest into it. Either hobby is going to run you a little bit of cash. It don't matter. Even if you do a little bit or you do a lot, it's going to run money. It's going to run research. You're going to want to do your own research on everything. And it's fun. Sometimes I feel like just sitting around researching, watching videos is like half the fun of these hobbies. Just hearing other people talk about it, hearing other people's experiences, hearing other people's thoughts on which direction should I go with this. Okay, so far we've talked about, I'm running 18 minutes. We've talked about different smoking methods and procedures. We've talked about different tools and accessories that are needed for each hobby. And that's another thing when it comes to cigars. I didn't really get too much into the cutter, but even when it comes down to the cutter, cutting the thing, you may want a straight cut, you may want a V cut, you may want a punch cut. You may just, that's basically the 3 types of cuts that I know of, and I have cutters that can do all 3 of those functions. So you may want to just start off with a straight cutter, a little guillotine like I did, and then kind of work your way up. Or you may want to go straight to the V cut, who knows? Even down to cutting it, there's different ways, there's different methods. Just lighting it, just everything. Picking out cigars, and that's the fun part, picking out cigars, just trying to figure out what do I like, what smells good, what seems like it would taste good. Like I said, this hobby goes on and on and on. There's no end to it. You set up like with cigars, I've been smoking cigars for a year. And I've probably reviewed, I don't even know how many different cigars already on my channel. You know, probably like 30 something cigars. And and I've smoked other cigars that I haven't filmed myself doing. And I mean, and I ain't even hit the tip of the iceberg yet. I ain't even got that far. It goes on and on. We talked about the different storage methods for both, humidors for cigars, possible pipe racks for pipes. Let's talk price. Let's talk money. When it comes to smoking a pipe, it can be a pretty cheap hobby because pipe tobacco is not that much. Even for the good stuff, it's not that much. I mean, you can get an ounce of tobacco, from anywhere from $2 to $8. And, that's considered premium good stuff. And an ounce will last you a while. An ounce is a lot of these bowls. I don't know exactly how many. Depending on how much you smoke. When it comes to pipes, and the accessories are fairly cheap, I mean, you can get a tamper for $2. You can get pipe cleaners, 100 of them for like $3. You can get matches for nothing. You can get you can get lighters for nothing. I mean, the most expensive part of the pipe is probably going to be the pipe itself. And if you go with corncob pipes, like I've mentioned before, Missouri Meerschaum has a whole slew of pipes that fit under a $10 pipe budget. So, the only way you're going to be spending a ton of money there is if, say, you are, wanted to buy a briar pipe, you want a fancy one, you want a nice one, you want a quality one, you want one that's going to not only outlive you, it might outlive the next 2 or 3 generations of you. And let me get that water off there. And like I said, the whole thing with the pipe deal is going to be the pipe. Tobacco is fairly cheap. It's kind of the po man hobby. Cigars, on the other hand. Now, that can get a little tricky. I mean, humidors ain't that much. You can get a good, decent humidor for $20-30. Cutters are fairly cheap. I say cheap, probably $10 to $20. I mean, even a lot of cutters can go higher than that based on the quality, of what you're getting. And the V cuts can go for high. Torch lighters can get expensive, which is kind of like, and a lot of cigar guys are going to say you need a torch lighter. You don't have to, but you might want to. Torch lighters can get up there in price. Cigars themselves, if you watched any of my cigar videos, you'll see that I have smoked cigars that range anywhere from $1 a stick to $15 a stick. And that's really going to be something that has to be worth it for you personally. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's palate's different. Everybody has different taste. Everybody has different ways of how they want to go about smoking cigars. Some guys may not want to smoke cheap cigars. They only want the high-end stuff. The high-end stuff, now, maybe you buy a box of 20 or 25 of some high-end Cohibas or something, and maybe you only smoke one cigar on a special occasion. Maybe you only smoke once a month. well, then that right there will last you. But if you're kind of like how I've gotten to where I like to have a cigar every day after work, I can't smoke a $15 a stick cigar every single day of the year. That's way out of my pay range. So look into that. Look into the cost of what you might be willing to spend. Experiment with some cheaper cigars. See if you even like them. And then work your way up. One thing I did was you can get on cigarsinternational.com and you can pick up sampler packs. Like say you're like, well, I don't know if I want to buy a box of 50 of this because I don't know if it's going to taste good. You don't have to. You can buy sampler packs that are reasonably priced. You know, and some of these sampler packs sometimes will come with like 15 different cigars. Then you can kind of try different ones, see what suits your fancy. You might like Connecticut wrappers. You might like, you know, the Habano. You might like Maduro. You might want to smoke a Churchill. You might want an hour-long smoke. You may just want a Robusto. You know, you may just want a 30, 35-minute smoke. You may want, there's so much to experiment with. It's unreal. It is unreal. It goes on and on. Check into it though. But I really do feel like smoking cigars, especially if you're going to be a daily cigar smoker, you're probably going to spend more money on that hobby in the long run. Whereas pipes, not so much. Because like I said, the pipe tobacco, I mean, I want to say I've made, like, even if I've smoked a pipe every day, an ounce of tobacco, I mean, that could last a couple of weeks. And that's only $8. Something to think about. And that's gone out because I'm rambling. But I have to ramble because it's a video. "27 minutes, and I'm still going. I still got stuff to talk about. But we're going to try to go quick. Tongue bite. Any seasoned piper has had a good case of tongue bite, and that just comes with the game. If you're not a fan of tongue bite or not a fan of any type of tongue harshness, and that's another thing we'd have to discuss is how to maintain that to where you're not giving yourself tongue bite. But all I'll say is that you're more likely with pipe smoking to get tongue bite than you will with cigar smoking. And like I said, when it comes down to the taste, you know, to me it all smells good. It all, pipe tobaccos smell phenomenal, especially the aromatics. Cigars smell good. Cigars taste good. Pipe tobacco tastes good. For me, the taste is there with all of it. I'm kind of right down the middle with it. I like it all. You might be different. You might just want to go one way or the other. Last thing we'll talk about, then we'll wrap this Corncob Tuesday up, is nicotine. From my own personal experience of smoking pipes and smoking cigars, if you are not a fan of nicotine, then you're probably going to want to go the pipe hobby route. Because, a bowl of pipe tobacco is a very small amount compared to, say, the tobacco that's in that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at that. Like, what's in that bowl and what you're smoking here is a lot more. You're going to be getting a lot more nicotine. And even if you're not inhaling, you're going to get nicotine. It's going to seep through the mucous membranes of the inside of your mouth lining, through and get into your bloodstream that way. A lot of people, you think, well, no, you're not inhaling it, so you're not going to get no nicotine. You're going to get some nicotine, especially if it's a really high strength cigar. May even make you sick. I've gotten cigar sickness, and that was without inhaling. Pipes, I have never ever gotten sick from a pipe. I've never even really felt remotely like I'm even got nicotine going through me. It's mostly cigars. Cigars will introduce nicotine into you, and if you're not a big fan of nicotine, go this route. If you like a good nicotine hit, go that route. But with that being said, that's about all I got to say about that. And happy Corncob Tuesday to all of y'all out there. Stay smoking. Peace out.